Hello everyone, today I am going to present to you my research. The topic of the research is junior students' perception towards self-regulated second foreign language learning. The aim of the study is to identify whether the junior TFL department students are self-regulated or need the control from the side of the teacher in the way of learning second foreign language, and to identify the influence of grades on self-regulation and to determine the most frequently used strategy. There are three research questions. The first, to what extent do learners' self-regulation depend on learners' grade? The second, how can junior students develop autonomous learning? And the last, what self-regulated strategies are employed by students in second foreign language context. What does self-regulated learning mean? Self-regulated learning is an active and a constructivist way of learning where students set a goal and then try to observe oneself, motivation and action which leaded by their goal. And constructivist way of learning means that learners involved in their meaning and the knowledge construction, opposite to passive receivers. So in the way of this, according to Scarcella and Oxford, they applied strategies, and the strategies mean that specific actions and behaviors which students use to enhance their learning. And Oxford classified them into 6: cognitive, metacognitive, compensatory, memory, affective, and social. So the method of the study is mixed. Questionnaires are used as a part of quantitative data collection to gather accurate data, and interviews as a part of qualitative data collection. My participants were 20 junior SDU students from TFL department, and they majority of them have been studying a second foreign language for almost 2 or 3 years, and they are aged from 20 and 22, both male and female. As I mentioned before, the instruments were a questionnaire and interview. The questionnaire was collected in 3 weeks, and the interview was conducted in 5 days. The questionnaire has 3 parts. The first part is about the background information of respondents. The second is strategy inventory for language learners questionnaire, and the third is about questionnaire regarding the influence of grades to self-regulation. And strategy inventory for language learners was designed by Oxford, and for this study adapted for second foreign language learners. And it has 6 parts, and each of them has several items. For example, the memory strategy has 6 parts, the cognitive strategy has 7 items, and metacognitive strategy has 12 items, affective has 5 items, social 4 items, and compensatory 2 items. The interview was self-developed and structured. There is a background information about respondents. 55% of them are French learners, and 30% of them Chinese learners, and 10% of them Korean learners, and only 5% Turkish learners. There is no German learners. The investigation process took three stages. The first stage is a questionnaire survey, and the participants are asked to rate linear scale, a scale of 1 to 4, and answer the question. So the question was about marks for a second foreign language, and the second question was to what extent their self-regulation depends on their grades, and the results show that 45 of them choose the option to somewhat extent, and 35 of them choose to a great extent, and only 10 of them choose a very little. Participants' mark for second foreign language was that 45 of them get excellent mark, and 40 of them get good, and 10 of them get satisfactory, and only 5 of them get unsatisfactory mark. So the interesting fact that not all excellent and good graders choose the option to a great extent or somewhat extent. They choose also to a very little extent. The second part is an interview, and it was conducted by Google Meet, and it took approximately 10-15 minutes, and the participants were asked questions about general knowledge of autonomous learning, and if they consider themselves as autonomous learner, outside and inside activities, goals, and their reflection. Interviews have 7 semi-structured questions and 2 follow-up questions. The results revealed that most likely that participants have long-term goals rather than short-term goals, or even they don't have any. So half of the participants highlighted that they relied on the support and control from the teacher, and half of them considers themselves as a partially autonomous learner, and most of the participants engaged in activities such as watching movies, videos, doing grammar exercise, singing song, and listening podcasts. And also some participants coincide their needs and preference with teachers' materials, which means that they are not passive receivers, and most participants liked the activities which with pair work and group work, and it means that they can develop autonomous learning. The third stage is the questionnaire survey on self-regulated language learning strategies, and the participants are asked to rate Likert scale on 36 items from 1 to 5, and it was aimed to identify the frequently used strategy and the least used strategy. So there is a table, an average usage of strategies, and the frequently used strategy was social strategy with mean 3.57, and the least one was cognitive strategy with mean 2.52. On this table, you can see language learning strategy items alongside with their means from high to low usage, and the most used one was item I pay attention when someone speaks second foreign language from metacognitive strategy was and the least one was item I test myself regularly on old grammar from cognitive strategy, and the medium usage was about gestures, and it was compensatory strategy. In conclusion, it became clear that most junior TFL students show high extent of influence of grade on self-regulation, and half of students consider themselves as autonomous learner, but other half relied on the guidance and control from the teacher. And the most frequently used strategies were social and compensatory, and the least one was cognitive strategy. There is a limitation is on the amount of participants, and there is need to further study with sufficient amount of participants to get more information, and instead of several second foreign languages, it will be preferable to concentrate attention on one second foreign language to get deeper information about self-regulated learning and the strategies.